The day my mom left, she smelled like burnt glue and cheap peppermint. I remember that more than her face. And I think that's why I can't stand craft stores or anything that smells fake and sweet. My dad didn't cry. He just walked into the garage, shut the door, and started ripping apart an old oak dresser like it had done something to him. 4 days later, it wasn't a dresser anymore. It was a ship, not a model, not a decoration. A full 18th century privateer ship, hand-built, piece by piece. Like if he stopped working, everything inside him would collapse. That's just how we lived in Providence, Rhode Island. We didn't talk about pain, we built over it. If something broke, you didn't fix feelings. You built something heavier over the silence. By 2026, that ship sat on our mantle collecting dust like it had always been there. My dad spent Saturdays teaching woodworking at a community center. Retired guys trying to feel useful again. One quiet teenager who barely spoke. I stayed home, editing audio for a true crime podcast about dry cleaning thefts. It barely paid rent. Then the email came. A luxury resort in Boston wanted the ship. $14,000. Cash. That's not extra money. That's keep the house from freezing in January money. I didn't tell my dad, because I already knew what he'd say. An artisan doesn't sell his work like that, so I lied. I told him the community center wanted the ship for a display. He asked, "They got proper storage?" "Climate controlled," I said. He nodded, and that was it. He believed me. He packed it like it mattered more than anything, wrapped it in old flannel like it was something alive. We met the buyer in a parking lot behind a Dunkin' Donuts. That's still the weirdest part. Something that important happening there. My dad carried the crate himself. I had to lie again just to keep him in the truck. When I got the check, my hands were shaking so bad I almost dropped it into a puddle. For a few weeks, things got easier. Heat worked, truck started. My dad talked about buying a new bandsaw, like maybe we were okay again. Then he came home early one night. He didn't say anything at first, just stood there holding a magazine. I already knew something was wrong. Page 14. There it was, the ship, sitting in a luxury resort lounge behind velvet ropes, warm lighting, clean floors, expensive silence. Caption said, "Custom nautical installation by Studio Vance." My dad just stared at it. Then he said, "Calm. They spelled the community center wrong." That's when I knew I was done. "Dad, you sold it." Not a question, just truth. I tried to explain. Bills, debt, winter, survival. He didn't argue. He just walked out to the garage, locked the door, and started the planer. It ran all night. The next morning, I couldn't sit still, so I drove to Newport. The resort looked like another world. Too clean, too quiet, too expensive to belong in real life. And then I saw it. The ship. But something was wrong. The lights were too hot, too strong. The wood looked stressed, like it was drying out under pressure it was never meant for. I told a security guard it was being damaged. He told me to step back. I didn't. An older woman nearby asked what I meant, so I explained it simple. Heat, light, wrong environment. The manager came. It didn't turn into a heroic moment. It turned into paperwork, arguments, conditions. And then I had to give the money back. All of it. I left with nothing but the crate. When I got home, my dad was sitting on the porch. No questions, no anger, just waiting. We opened it together. The ship was still there, but it wasn't the same. A crack ran along the bow. The mast leaned slightly. My dad touched the wood like he was checking if it was still real. Then he said, "Idiots." That was it. No speech, no breakdown, just that. We carried it inside and set it back on the mantle. Not fixed, not forgiven, just home again. Now it sits there above the TV, broken a little, still standing. And sometimes I look at it and think, maybe survival always leaves a mark, and maybe love does too.